Okay, welcome back to Night Call. We're about to end night 6. We might get a phone call from the angry police lady. In which case, my main thing is still this guy, because I was just thinking, in between the break while I was making a cup of tea in between the two episodes, that this, justice thing there, I know it's not linked to him on our board, but that's kind of what he was talking about, wasn't it? The system controls you and you have to find ways to get around the system and, the injustice done to victims and stuff like that, so I feel like that might link to him as well. We'll see. Vixen 2 was a fierce politician. I don't really know much about him, though. I'm presuming he's done, obviously, something bad. Because otherwise it doesn't quite fit the narrative, so I kind of have to assume that. But let's end this night and see whether we get one more night on the town, though. Nope. There we go. Your phone rings. You impulsively take a step back. It's the moment of truth. Okay. Pick it up. Hello. Let's bus it high. Ice cold. So? She heaves a long sigh. There's no background noise. She must not be at the station. Where are you? For a second you think she's going to tell you, but then... somewhere. None of your business. I like clinking noise. The sound of a teacup on a coaster, maybe? I'm listening. What have you got for me? She clears her throat. Her voice sounds louder, more confident. You glance at the wall. The suspects are all lined up, all the evidence, a whole mess of your ideas. Your stomach is in a knot. Don't have to remind you, you cannot get this wrong. I have a meeting in 2 hours with the district attorney and the chief of police. Even the Minister of the Interior will be in a corner of the room somewhere. Obviously I'm thrilled. But I certainly don't want to put too much pressure on you. You can almost hear the smirk she must be wearing. You lay the receiver down on the table. Now you have to decide. I think that's probably because the main thing is the killer left their country. You can't, and that's obviously Ludwig's visions. I don't know how much stock to put in that. But the weapon was a rare gun. No one else had any sort of attachment to a weapon. First 3 victim files were obviously not part of the police leak, which means could have been linked to this guy, but he's been crossed off. So, for them to know easily about the victims, it would obviously have to be a cop to do it. Black Gloves is obvious. He's got some kind of justice thing going on. Yeah, it's probably going to turn out to be Claudia now, but that's the best I got. Lord forgive me if I'm wrong. Okay. I'll explain it to her. She says okay. I'll buy it. Seems like a solid choice. I can fish around a bit to vet your information. She pauses. You can almost hear her nodding. I'll call you tonight. Try to get some sleep. She pauses. No way she's going to hang up on such a positive note. No, she's probably going to. Might be your last night of freedom. She snickers and hangs up. You put the phone down. You might as well be standing in the ice-cold emptiness of outer space. Please don't make me fuck this guy's life up. I really like him. You decide to go to bed, to sleep. Best way to kill time. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You slide onto the open sofa bed. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Your brain is running at full speed, your body aches, and you're in pain. You can tell you need to get more sleep. You glance at your investigation board. You sigh when you think that in just a few hours, it'll all be over. You have answers. Busset will have her arrest. Paris will be peaceful again. But what about you? What will you do? You shake your head and your mind wanders for a second. Your eyes close, you fall asleep. Something is bothering you. Something stuck in your throat. Same nightmare again. You start coughing over and over. You lean out of bed. A black shadow creeps out of your mouth and bangs loudly on the floor. You wake with a start. Fucking nightmare. You glance at the floor. There's nothing there. You lie back down, still shaking. God, I'm all tense now. You open one eye. You had a hard night. Restless. You get the impression you aged 5 years in a matter of hours. You get up quickly. A few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Okay, we have one more night before we figure it out. That's horrible. Don't do that to me. You barely... Oh, no, never mind. You barely got downstairs when you catch sight of Busset. She's leaning up against the door of your cab. Eyes wide open, forehead creased. Get in. You obey. It's too early to react. She settles into the back seat, flashes a smile. Good news. Oh, God. Hopefully. I'm right. You're right. Or at least the DA thinks your evidence is sufficient. No emotion in her voice. She's giving you the facts. Nothing more. We're going to bring Fragonard in tonight. She knows. Her expression clouds over. I have trouble. She freezes. Fragonard is a mentor. Mine and half the squad's. You can't understand. He's an institution. She stops. Clears her throat. Need your help. One last time. Later on tonight, we're going to get Fragonard to leave home and find a way to get him into your taxi. She pulls some kind of pen out of her pocket that she puts in the little cubby just above the car stereo. This is a bug. You need a confession? If you feel like it, if you think you can manage... I've seen you, and heard you enough to know that you have a trick. A gift for getting people to talk. I need someone I can trust to get close to Fragonard without making him suspicious. He's a cop. He knows how we work. No one's ever sent a taxi driver to make an arrest. He won't put up a fight. I hope he'll open up to you. He'll confess before things fall apart. Not too far from the hospital where he goes for his treatments, there's an alleyway under construction. There won't be any civilians, just us and him. She sighs. Two teens walk by the cab and the intense smell of weed fills the cab. Busset doesn't budge. I know you can do it. If you stick to the plan, nothing can go wrong. Understood. I'm gonna bring this guy in. I know there's like the talk of the system's wrong and blah 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 blah. I can't abide vigilante justice kind of thing, you know. It's kind of like, yeah, everyone would love to rid the world of serial killers and murderers and all that sort of thing, rapists, but the risk of murdering an innocent person is way, way too high for me to ever be comfortable with that sort of thing. Because even if you make the argument of the moral standpoint that, you know, they took a life so they deserve to live their life, there's so many other people that can get injured along the way that it's just not worth it in the end. And that's not even getting into the subject of whether people can change or not, or why they commit murder and all that sort of thing. It's just trying to find a quick, easy solution for something that's not quick and easy. But anyway, let's get on with our little game about taxi driving. She gives you her typical smile, like an owner admiring her dog performing a perfect trick. I'm off. She lays her hand on the door handle. You pick the suspect up, drive to the meeting point, and you're free. Easy as pie. She gets out of the cab, slams the door, and walks quickly away. Shit, shit, shit. You hit the dashboard. Intense pain spreads through your hand. You grab the keys in the ignition and turn. The motor comes on. Your night is about to begin. Your last night. Is that it? Do I go straight for Fragonard? No, apparently not. Okay. Well, let's see who we're interested in. Kind of like this handsome gentleman. I think I was going to pick him up before, but I got distracted by another thing, so now we can pick up the handsome gentleman that we wanted to pick up before. Oh, Christ. Creeps. Well, at least it means I think I was right. If I picked the wrong one, they wouldn't go through this hassle, I guess. Turns. Francois Delanier. You immediately recognise the next passenger getting into your taxi. You never watch television, rarely listen to the radio, you don't read the newspaper, and yet you know Francois Delanier's face. Polemicist, novelist, columnist, politician too, you think. Your passenger distractedly gives you his address. You start driving. He appears to be out of breath. His voice and hands are shaking. Unbelievable. He separates each syllable as if it's going to protect him from the violence around him. Unbelievable. Everything okay? Can you even begin to fathom what a public danger this represents? What? A mere 5 minutes ago, I wanted to cross the street. Suddenly, slicing through the darkness and deafening silence came an electric car. Yeah, that's a well-documented risk of electric cars. But, yeah. But they're not, like, silent. You can hear their tyres. His asphalt-coated tyres drove right over the tip of my loafer. It's shot, I can tell. The leather is compressed and streaked with mud and soot. Is your foot okay? It's a travesty. A travesty. He begins writing furiously. You catch a few words from time to time. What for? For the environment? To create more road deaths? Save polar bears? Yeah, but you can have an electric car and then you just have to, like, make a way to make a sound. It's not like the end of the world, dude. Leaves you hanging for a second before grinning. Another badly thought out stunt from the snowflake hipster lobby? Quinoa? Is that just, whenever you think of hippies and hipsters, you just immediately, the word quinoa gets into your head. Electric planes that would crash into Quinoa Airport without a sound? You hear a throaty laugh. The Earth, safe, intact, clean. But at what cost? My loafers. No way, Jose. Our planet produces oil, so we must use it. It would be unnatural not to, yes. There's everything natural about digging up, old dinosaur bones and jamming them into an engine that makes it explode and then produces force. That's incredibly natural. Obviously, God in his infinite wisdom designed the combustion engine before he designed the process that would break dinosaurs down as oil. Unnatural indeed. He chuckles crudely. Rise up in defence of the sweet purr of the convertible, just as they would hoot. They would the hoot of an owl in danger of extinction in the lush forests of the Quinoa region. Ah, murderer, assassin, the ferocious silence made to oppress us. Right, I think you're reading a bit too much into this, my friend. They just want to make a car that doesn't run on oil. He puts down his notebook. A wolfish grin spreads across his face. Yes, magnificent editorial. Just magnificent. I'm guessing this guy is the kind of talk show host, kind of news. Your Piers Morgan getting angry about fucking nothing at all and wasting everyone's goddamn time and money. What about you? Would you want to have a silent car? Yes. Why on God's green earth? It's better for the environment. Better for the environment. Come now, what is environmentally friendly about a weapon of mass destruction? The cars are going to kill hundreds, thousands of people. Just do the equivalent of putting a playing card in a bicycle spokes. Just make it the wheels make a sound, dude. It's not the end of the world. Their silence will be the carbon dioxide of the 21st century. You know how there hasn't been a mass plague of electric car deaths, Because most people have, road sense. And they're not silent. You can hear their wheels moving. They will infiltrate our cities, our countryside. They'll mow us down on foot, on bike, even in another car. I'll tell it as I see it. Noise is life. A city without noise is not a city. Mark my words. Yeah, but you can have, birdsong and noises of nature, not beeping horns and chugging engines. You drive in silent for a few minutes. In the back seat, the polemicist is fuming, and you catch occasional snippets of nonsense. The taxi has almost reached your passenger's place. Just boot him out. It's just here. You pull up in front of his address, an old building, freshly renovated. On the top floor, the bay windows shine faintly in the darkness as the Eiffel Tower's spotlight washes over them. The Eiffel Tower has a spotlight? News to me. I haven't been in Paris since I was a tiny baby boy, so... Your passenger sighs. Oh, the devils, the fools! It's the middle of the night and they're still having the time of their lives. He opens the window on his side and screams at a packed cafe. The heated patio is filled with young people, well dressed and quite drunk. When will you cease this madness? It then turns to you to whisper, as if in secret. Every night they make one hell of a racket. Impossible to get a wink of sleep. He pays, gets out of the car, and is in front of the bar in 3 angry leaps. I bet he's a shit tipper. You can hear his voice from far away. A few words of some outdated swearing with a whiff of senility. Yes. You stop lifting and drive off. Oh, it's actually an alright tipper. Surprisingly, actually. There we go. There it is. Oh, okay. There we go. Hospital, as usual. There he is. He has a tired look about him. His voice drags. Usual place. St. Louis Hospital, then. You start driving. Your passenger seems to have his mind elsewhere, not entirely awake, stubble on his chin. You scan his skin, his movements, his attitude. It's cold as shit this morning. His voice makes you jump. You nod. You have more people, or not as many when it's cold out like this. Folks tend to stay home when it's too cold. Might be more of them, but they make shorter trips. Makes sense. Dead silence. Talk about the weather. It's worse in summertime though. People don't take cabs as much. But when they do, they go further. Obviously. You drive in silence for a second. The road goes by. You don't want to look in your side mirrors too often. You haven't seen a trace of the cops yet. Bassett told you not to worry, but... You know, it's funny. Just this morning I was thinking about an old case. One of my first cases, actually. It was just after the Mezzarine case. You know who Mezzarine is, don't you? Or am I really that old? You sense it's the right time to get him to talk. Rings a bell. Jacques Mezzarine. Breaking and entering, kidnapping, armed robbery. He killed 2 cops in Canada, tortured a journalist. Far right one, but still. Then, in 1979, after being on the run for a year and a half, the cops catch and kill him at Port de Clignancourt. He raises a hand. Now, the cops say it was in self-defense, but I know for a fact they shot him down like a dog. He looks straight at you. You can see the hint of an underground fire roaring deep in his eyes. Now, I most certainly do not want to die like a dog, understood? He catches his breath and is clearly shaken. He ever so slowly reaches into his pocket and pulls out his weapon. Where did Bassett ask you to take me? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't take me for a fool. Ah, shit. I think if I keep lying... If he's pulling a gun on me as a taxi driver, he probably knows what's going on. Tell the truth. A warehouse, some old garage. They're waiting for us there. An ambush. I'm no Mezzarine, you know. I'm not going to pull out a grenade out from the back seat here. He cuts off with a groan. When he starts speaking again, his voice is chilling. Bassett. You can see his finger on the trigger. It's shaking, ever so slightly. How much does she know? I don't know. Stench of gunpowder fills the cab. Oh boy, did you shoot me? Your vision is blurred for a second. You can't feel your legs anymore, and a shock of heat is streaming down your spine. Taxi slows. Did you just shoot me? Taxi slows and ends up running into a car parked along the side of the road. The impact sets its alarm off. It's like shower the street with red and yellow. I'm sorry. Sorry it turned out like this. You deserve better, you know? You're so focused on helping others you forgot to take care of yourself. You want to speak, but no sound comes out. I read your file, you know. What you did for your sister-in-law, taking 7 years in jail for her. He nods his head. You deserve better. Your neck muscles give out and your head collapses. Bits of the outside world make it in. Maybe not in the right order. The door's closing. Backseat empty. And Samba meowing in the background. A shape coming over to your cab, screaming, shouting. And just like that, darkness. Maybe it would have shot me whatever I did, I don't know. That's it? Oh, come on, that sucks. Can I, like, load back where I was? That's night 6, that's when I last saved. If I continue, does it get me back at the start of that one? Because that's kind of harsh. Well, let's just, like, burn through. Oh, okay, it's different, okay. Ah, see? There's not much chance they come to protest at 3 AM, huh? Might as well just go through it. It's not really surprising, actually. They want to make change, but only when it's convenient. Not during vacations, not on weekends, not at night. They make fun of us in other countries. France, the land of strikes, the land of protest marches. The country is filled with jackasses, slackers, and simpletons. But they protest nonetheless. What do you mean by that? I mean, they take the bus or train specifically to protest. Well, yes, they certainly do like to protest. But actually, most of the people on strike just stay home and don't work. Before you can get the slightest word in, he starts again. Take the United States, for example. They have no right to strike. It's do or die. Spit flies from his mouth and disappears somewhere on the back seat. Ugh. And they didn't become the most powerful country in the world. They're going on strike all the time. Yeah, it's another anti-striker. Or wankers, as we like to call them. He snickers. His notebook appears in his hand and he begins to write. Strike, protest, unrest. While businessmen and manufacturers are working around the clock. Oh, you fucking bootlicker. French people should be ashamed. Take a look in the mirror and decide to change, to do something. They expect too much from life. They want to have their cake and eat it too, and bite off more than they can chew. Your froth begins to form at the corners of his mouth. And meanwhile, the world keeps turning. While the strikers twiddle their thumbs, workers are working. No, struggling to get the job done, that's better. Idiotic protest marches. The Frenchest thing and the stupidest. We have to look at the masses in the eye and say, you do not own the streets. You shall not wield them like weapons. He suddenly raises his eyes and looks at you. They are unfocused and his complexion deathly pale. You alright there, mate? He wanders somewhere beyond the windshield. I just remember that I once marched. It just came back to me like an old childhood memory. I can see it clearly, from Versailles to Paris. I can picture the banners, the songs, and the people's faces. There were so many of us. We got up at dawn, thousands of us, and we marched towards the capital. Our pure and wholesome voices rose up. His voice shakes a bit. What were you marching for? It was a cry from the heart of the right for high-quality religious education while France was being crushed by the weight of socialism. Okay. We were being ideologically purged, completely decimated. It was the end of parochial schools. What a shame. The end of our culture as we knew it. His voice trembles. Did you win? Yes, we won. So, protesting is okay then. His forehead pitches forwards, as if his head were too heavy. We weren't being heard, we weren't being respected. Perhaps you're right. Single finger interrupts the conversation. But we didn't go on strike. We didn't bother anyone with our banners or our gatherings. And yet, we still won. He sighs contentedly as you pull the taxi up along the sidewalk. Those were the days. It was a great time. The left was running the country. He leans in towards you like he's about to tell you a secret, with a smirk on his face. And I mean the real left, eh? Okay, whatever, mate. Hear him talking to himself as he walks towards the front of his building. What a lovely night. Good luck to you tomorrow with all these protest marches. It's going to be a messy one. He's gone before you have the time to remind him you only work nights. You notice the newspaper. Okay, we don't need that. No, it's not unless we're going to baff Fragonard on the head with it. I think we're fine. There he is. Okay. Can I save? No, I can only back to menu and then go in. If I go back to menu, does that create a save? Because we had a couple that were in there, like night 1 and night 6. No, okay. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, you're fucking joking. Oh, that's taking me. Okay, well, I'm gonna cut it here and then resume back when we're there. Okay, we're back with our boy. This time I'm going to tell the truth. My reasoning being he's got the bug in there, so Even if he admits, he doesn't have to say, yes, I killed them. Even if we say he knows everything and they're like, oh, he's got all the evidence, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty much confirming that I'm right. So my job is just to get a confession. Don't see how I have to do more than that and stay alive. Right, okay. Cold as shit. Okay, so let's just keep chatting to him. Yep. Okay, so mystery in case, yep. Rings a bell. There we go. He doesn't want to die like a dog. He's got his weapon. Tell the truth. The warehouse, some old garage. They're waiting for us there. An ambush. I'm no Mesrine, I'm not going to pull a grenade out from the end of the back seat here. Bust it. How much does she know? She has evidence. You're alongside, coming from the back seat. A few seconds go by. You tried to concentrate on driving, despite your sweaty hands and dripping brow. Okay. Why hasn't she tried to arrest me then? You shrug. I don't know. She told me it'd be easier this way. I think she hopes she'll turn yourself in without a fight. He looks away. Bassett is really one of a kind. But she doesn't fit in today's world. Neither do I, for that matter. The weapon he's holding is shaking slightly, wavering. You suddenly notice he's speaking to you in a more familiar tone. That's why I killed them. Bastards, all of them. Rapists, murderers, and liars who escaped prosecution. Now Bassett likes to do the same thing I did. Slam a bullet into the head of the first murderer she can get her hands on. But she can't. You just can't do that anymore. A long, painful, heavy sigh. In any case, now there's only one truth left. No more confrontation, no debate, no need for justice to be served. They were guilty and I killed them. I can write that down if you want. It's no secret. I knew I'd be caught sooner or later, either by Bassett or by... His sentence hangs in the air. I'm sick. Got cancer. All over. I hope some new drug might cure me, but what's the point, honestly? He abruptly accelerates his speaking pace. I don't want to go to jail. A cop can't go to jail. I don't want to see my face on the cover of magazines and newspapers. But I don't want to deny Bassett the pleasure of catching me. Her and her team. So here's what we're going to do. There's a place in Montmartre. A place I really love. It's my first memory of Paris. I must have been 6 or 7. My mother had come all the way from Martinique. She thought she could convince my father to... Yeah, anyway. There's no point in telling that story. No point? Why? He looks away. There's no point because there's no moral to the story. My parents were selfish people. They preferred their own personal comfort to keeping me safe, to raising me right. Anyway. There's a bench up here, not far from Sacré-Cœur. This bench has 2 clear advantages. First, it faces the city of Paris, southern facing. All the monuments are there, staring back in splendour. He starts to speak with confidence. I especially like it when all the buildings poke out above the cloud of pollution. Notre Dame's square towers, Pompidou and its coloured pipes, the Eiffel Tower. He shakes his head, and his voice sounds deep and serious again. The second advantage to sitting on this bench is that you turn your back to Sacré-Cœur, an ugly building. He only built it to rub the church the right way. He looks away and remains silent for a while. His hands shake a little. I want to see Paris one last time. It's a little too early to watch the sunrise, but at least there'll be people around. Lovers. Life. I just want to go and sit on the bench, look out at Paris, alone, for 5 minutes. And then you can go to the meeting point so Bassett can pick me up. What do you say? Okay. You turn around. You'll see. The view is incredible. I have a feeling like this guy would just shot me last time if I did the wrong thing. I feel like you got to play along. He seems like the kind of guy who's got nothing to lose. Then as you begin to climb up to the top of Montmartre, he lowers his weapon. I want to apologise. I'm sorry I hurt you the night of the attack. Everything could have turned out so differently. You're nothing like the guy I took down, He was a kid at the time, but there was something in his eye, something bad, something evil. His eyes sparkle for a bit, tears perhaps. Seconds later, you park a few metres away from Sacré-Cœur. The bench is right over there. I just need 5 minutes. 5 minutes and we'll go. Got it? You nod. No, I don't think. You want me to come along? He slowly turns his head and watches you quietly for a second. No. No. Thanks, friend. He gets out of the cab. You watch the old cop. He takes a few steps towards the bench, walks around it like he wants to look at it from every angle. He doesn't so much as glance at Sacre-Cœur and its dome. I wonder if he's going to shoot himself. Lit up with powerful spotlights. A few passers-by, chilled to the bone, are wandering around nonchalantly on the square in front. The cop finally sits on the bench. He stays there for a long minute, contemplating Paris. Strings of light weave around traffic circles and intersections, making a magnificent canvas. There's a sudden movement. There we go. In a matter of seconds, he pulls the gun out of his pocket. Up to his chin, I knew it. Shot rings out. Thanks, friend. Those were his last words. Are you fucking kidding me? No. Lieutenant Bussett watches you. Her jaw is clenched, locked, more like. What else did he say? He confessed to his crimes. The wire you put in the cab must have caught it all. You have the recording. Bussett stares at you for a second before looking away. Shit. This is not how it was supposed to end. He would have died soon anyway. You're not clear whether she's angry or sad. I'm sorry. She pretty much cuts you off. Did he say anything about me? It's all in the recording. He said you were like him. Of course, that guy was my mentor. A father figure, actually. He taught me everything I know. That's why I slipped you his file. I couldn't investigate him. No one on the team wanted to either. It was unthinkable. Unfeasible. Fuck. A semblance of a smile spreads across her face. Awkward, strained perhaps. Makes your blood curdle. You're free to go now. Don't leave the country though. Might have questions for you at some point. She opens the door. Icy air seeps in. You shiver. You really came through, you know. I didn't think you'd do so well. Her voice breaks up a bit with her last words. Who knew? She gets out of her cab and slams the door behind her. A blunt, metallic noise. Unidentifiable vibrations. The car quakes and shakes like a boat. A minute goes by before you can move again. You slowly come back to your senses. I don't think I want to stay here anymore. You key in the ignition, handbrake off, foot on the accelerator. You leave Sacre-Cœur behind. There we go. There's Nightcall. Well, the first mission of Nightcall. I kind of like how that ended. I was really scared that they were going to pull a backbone and make the ending really weird and nonsensical, but they actually made it very human. I don't feel entirely happy about how it ended. I don't feel entirely sad about how it ended. It's just, yeah, one of those, you know. I don't think there's ever going to be a comfortable ending to this story. But I'm glad they ended it well. Certainly ended it better than Backbone did. So, what I'm going to do is I will be coming back to Nightcall to do the other sessions. Got maybe 1 or 2 more games I want to record in the meantime, just to keep things ticking over so we're not spending this time slot on the same game over and over again. And I also didn't want to split this episode up into 2 and have the finale break apart, even though I had to redo it twice because it doesn't save right before the final conversation, which is a bit scummy, seeing as you can die, and it doesn't even give the option to start again from the conversation. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this slightly long, not finale of Nightcall, and I'll see you next week with something else. I'm going to let the credits roll, there can't be too many, and we'll pick it up when we get there. So, thank you so much for watching. If you like my content, please do check out my other videos. If you do, I shall see you there. Goodbye. The sun is about to come up. You drove all night long with your windows open. You're so tired, your chest is tight and your eyes are heavy, but you can't stop. Not now. You're going to run out of gas soon. The light went on about 20 kilometers back. You're somewhere in Normandy. You pull over onto the shoulder and get out. There's almost no traffic. I don't like this. You step over the guardrail as your eyes adjust to the colourful break of dawn. The sun will soon arise over the horizon. You get your phone out and dial a number. It doesn't ring. Direct to voicemail. The voice asks you to leave a message after the beep. Hey, I wanted to... You catch your breath. When Addie told me she'd held onto your phone just to hear the sound of your voice, I thought it was stupid. But now... The sun is slowly rising, and its colours are flooding the landscape. Bare underbrush, a tiny village lost in fog off in the distance, a hilltop sparkling with dew. The view seems alien to you. I wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity to redeem myself. Thanks. That word disgusts you, but it's too late. Thanks to you, I did something important. I think. Who knows? Silence. Your head is spinning. You haven't spoken to your brother in years. Well, in a manner of speaking. You grin. Oh, is this my brother talking to me, basically? Your kids are good. They grow up so fast. Addie shows me pictures sometimes, but I never go inside the house. It'll be too complicated for everyone. But they're doing well. They look a lot like Dad. At least I think. You pause. The truck flies by, just meters from you. I thought when it was all over, I thought I'd be able to get some decent sleep. Close my eyes and sleep. Really sleep. Finally. But sleeping is just a break. It doesn't put an end to it. It all starts up again as soon as a voice cuts you off. You have reached the maximum time limit. Please. You hang up. Your phone feels heavy in your hand. What should you do now? There's a broken fence in front of you, leading to a small footpath into the woods. Behind you is the highway leading to the sea. Get back in the car. You sigh and retrace your steps. I don't want to disappear. On the other side of the guardrail, you find your overheated cab. It was me then. The next gas station can't be much further. You slowly turn the key in the ignition. There's got to be something for you out there.